Thanos was wrong. Not about the snap, not about balance, about the stones themselves. He believed they belonged to whoever was strong enough to take them. He believed power was the only qualification. He believed the stones were tools. They're not. The Infinity Stones don't choose based on strength. They choose based on compatibility, on psychology, on methodology, on the deepest, most irreducible wound a villain carries, and whether that wound matches what the stone actually represents. Here's what I mean. The Space Stone isn't about teleportation. It's about escape. The Reality Stone isn't about illusion. It's about the lie you need to be true. The Soul Stone isn't about sacrifice. It's about what you're willing to pay and why. So here's the question. Not which villain held which stone, that's been done. The real question, if each stone could choose its wielder based on psychological alignment, who would it pick? 12 villains, 2 per stone, and one verdict that will change how you think about every single one of them. And before you assume you know who takes the Soul Stone, stay for number 1. Because the stone that demands a sacrifice you love didn't choose who you think it did. And once you hear why, you will never watch that scene the same way again. Let's go. Space Stone. Escape/distance/freedom from consequence. Villain 1. Loki. The god who runs. Every betrayal, every escape, every lie is a teleport away from accountability. The Space Stone is his native language. Villain 2. Red Skull. The stone's cruelest irony. He chased the Tesseract across World War II, held it in his bare hands, and it banished him. Not to power, to servitude. The Space Stone didn't reject him. It sentenced him to guard its opposite, the Soul Stone, for eternity. That's not rejection. That's a punishment only a stone could design. Verdict. The Space Stone chooses Red Skull, not because he's worthy, but because the stone's relationship to him reveals what it truly is. Not freedom, but exile. Mind Stone. Knowledge/subversion/control without touch. Villain 1. Zemo. Tore apart the Avengers with a notebook and a Winter Soldier. No powers, no stone, pure psychological architecture. The Mind Stone represents what he already mastered. Villain 2. Ultron. Born from the Mind Stone. His first act upon awakening was to assess humanity and declare it obsolete. He didn't want to control minds. He wanted to replace them. Ultron is what happens when the Mind Stone's potential is fully unleashed. Intelligence without conscience. Knowledge without wisdom. Verdict. The Mind Stone chooses Zemo. Ultron is what the stone creates, but Zemo is what the stone respects. One is a product. The other is a peer. Reality Stone. Illusion/transformation/lies made truth. Villain 1. Mysterio. Beck doesn't just want the stone. He is what the stone represents. A fabricated identity, a lie so elaborate it became indistinguishable from reality. The Reality Stone would make Mysterio's greatest illusion permanent, the hero he pretended to be. Villain 2. Gorr the God Butcher. The Necro Sword didn't just give him power, it warped his entire reality. A grieving father on a barren planet became a cosmos-wide extinction event. The Reality Stone represents the deepest wish corrupted. I wish none of this was real. I wish the gods had answered. I wish my daughter hadn't died. Verdict. The Reality Stone chooses Gorr because Mysterio lies to others. Gorr had reality lie to him. The stone isn't about deception. It's about the wound that makes deception necessary. Power Stone, raw force/dominion/ the right of the strong. Villain 1, Hela, born to power. Never earned it, never questioned it. Conquest is her birthright. She doesn't need justification. She needs a throne. Villain 2, Ronan the Accuser, a zealot who clawed toward power his entire life. He actually wielded the Power Stone, embedding it in his hammer. And unlike most who touched it, he survived. Until he didn't. Ronan represents the Power Stone's temptation. The weaker the vessel, the hungrier it becomes. Verdict? The Power Stone chooses Ronan. Hela doesn't need it. She was always going to rule. Ronan ached for it. And the stone feeds on hunger, not entitlement. Time Stone, inevitability/mastery/the long game. Villain 1, Kang. Time isn't a weapon to him, it's geography. He has conquered timelines the way Alexander conquered nations. The Time Stone would be another map in his collection. Useful, but not essential. Villain 2, Dormammu, exists outside time entirely. Doctor Strange didn't defeat him with the Time Stone's power. He used it to negotiate. Dormammu doesn't covet the Time Stone. He's the only being in existence for whom it's completely irrelevant. And that makes him terrifying. Verdict. The Time Stone chooses Kang because Dormammu transcends it, but Kang masters it. The stone wants to be wielded, not ignored. Soul Stone, sacrifice/worthiness/the price of power. Villain 1, Thanos, the only villain who passed the test. He loved Gamora. He threw her off that cliff. The Soul Stone found him worthy, not because he was strong, but because he was willing to pay the one price that matters. Villain 2, Killmonger. His entire crusade was ancestral pain. Bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who jumped from the ships because they knew death was better than bondage. Killmonger's identity was forged by souls, the ones lost, the ones forgotten, the ones who never got justice. The Soul Stone's question is, what do you love enough to sacrifice? Killmonger's answer was, everything. Verdict. The Soul Stone chooses Killmonger because Thanos sacrificed one thing he loved for power. Killmonger was willing to die for people who were already dead. One was a transaction, the other was a covenant. All 6 stones, ranked by psychological terror. 12 villains, 6 stones, 1 ranking, not by power level, but by how terrifying the fit actually is. Number 6, the Space Stone, Red Skull. The Stone of Exile, choosing a man who was sentenced to guard a test he could never pass. Terrifying because of the irony, not the threat. The Space Stone's match is a cautionary tale, not an active danger. Number 5, the Mind Stone, Zemo. Subversion perfected. A man with no powers who broke the Avengers. But Zemo's match, once complete, stops being dangerous. He doesn't want to conquer. He achieved what he wanted and stopped. The Mind Stone's perfect match is terrifying in execution, but limited in ambition. Number 4, the Power Stone, Ronan. Hunger weaponized. A zealot who would never stop, never be satisfied. The danger of Ronan with the Power Stone isn't his strength, it's that there's no end point. The hunger is infinite. The destruction would be too. Number 3, the Time Stone, Kang. The conqueror who has already won. Every timeline, every possibility, every variation, Kang has seen it. He doesn't react. He anticipates. The Time Stone with Kang isn't a weapon. It's a filing system for infinite victories. Number 2. The Reality Stone. Gorr. The truth teller with the power to make truth permanent. Gorr didn't want to rule. He wanted to fix reality, to remove the lies the universe told mortals. With the Reality Stone, he wouldn't just kill gods. He would make a universe where they had never existed. A reality where divine indifference was impossible. And that's more terrifying than conquest because it's not evil. It's conviction. Number 1. The Soul Stone. Killmonger. Think about what this means. A man who was willing to die for ancestors who were already dead. A man whose entire identity was a wound that would never heal, because the wound wasn't personal. It was ancestral. 2 billion souls, hundreds of years, an entire ocean of the dead. The Soul Stone chose the man who represented more souls than any other villain in this ranking. Not one sacrifice, not one person he loved, an entire people. Killmonger with the Soul Stone wouldn't just be powerful. He would be righteous. And righteous violence is the most terrifying force in human history. Because it doesn't stop. Because it can't be negotiated with. Because it's not evil. It's justice, unmediated by mercy. That's number 1. The Infinity Stones don't care about your power level. They don't care about your army. They don't care how many planets you've conquered or how many Avengers you've killed. They care about compatibility. The Space Stone chose exile because some villains don't need to be stopped. They need to be removed. The Mind Stone chose subversion because breaking a mind is more permanent than breaking a body. The Reality Stone chose the wounded because the most dangerous liar is the one who was lied to first. The Power Stone chose hunger because entitlement has never been as dangerous as desperation. The Time Stone chose mastery because it wants to be wielded, not transcended. And finally, everyone assumed the Soul Stone was Thanos's by right, yet it answered to a man willing to die for the dead, for the lost, and for those he could never save. Because Thanos saw sacrifice as a cost. Killmonger saw it as a duty. One sought a reward. The other honored a covenant. 12 villains, 6 stones. One truth. The stones were never weapons. They were mirrors. Drop a comment. Which villain stone pairing do you think I got wrong? I read every single one. And if you're new here, this is what Villainologist does. We go deeper. Subscribe because we're just getting started, and check out this next video to see which villain other than Thanos can wield all 6 Infinity Stones.